BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed ahoy hoy, welcome, episode BRB 500, I haven't done this for 2 weeks and I've forgotten how my mouth works. It's episode 569 of BRB UK, welcome, I am Dan. I haven't been here for some time. A man who has been here for some time and will continue to be here for some time because he's a very nice man who edits the show and we like him very much for that. It's Coleman. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm all right. We've got no Tim. Just to quickly explain why. He's in timeout because he keeps referring to games that aren't virtual reality as flat screen games or pancake games.
Right.
And this is illegal now, so he's in timeout.
Wow. Okay, so he's now shaming people who game in a quasi-monocular fashion, is what you're saying?
Yes.
What a git.
I've had enough now.
You've had enough.
Is enough. He's not allowed on the show until he stops being pretentious about VR.
He's being classified as a git, and therefore has got to sit this episode out. So there we go. It's official. Tim's a git. If you see him on Discord, please message him and tell him he's a git. All right?
You'll never see him on Discord.
No, exactly. Or just at him at X, whatever the modern day equivalent of a tweet is, I suppose. Anyway, sorry I wasn't here for 2 weeks. The first of those weeks was very enjoyable. The first of those weeks involved me going to Iceland.
And not dying in a fiery volcano incident.
No explodination was happening. My trip to the Blue Lagoon was cancelled because they were worried it could explode. Also, the idea of me being let loose in my swimming trunks and other people seeing, probably not a great thing, to be honest with you. You know, it'd be like kind of like a hairy Greenpeace incident. There we go. There's the show title.
Wow.
I know, right? Only a couple of minutes in, hairy Greenpeace incident.
Greenpeace incident.
Yep, that's what if anyone's listening and I pass away at any point, that's what I want my headstone to say, all right?
Good.
Hairy Greenpeace incident.
So week the first was the Iceland
Week the first was very good.
The week the second was the COVID incident.
The week the second was the COVID. So yeah, it was not fun. New COVID sucks, dude.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's not good. I tried to be a brave little soldier. It was like, I think Viking COVID is what I got. I had like beards and it pillaged me. And I felt very upset as a result. There was definitely it pillaged my immune system. Didn't like it. I like an undisturbed immune system, but it did a number on me. Sucked. Don't recommend it. Wash your hands, people.
No. Yeah.
There was lots of snotty people all over the place, and I'm sure one of those varmints gave it to me. But yeah, it was. My wife sadly has managed to lose her sense of smell. As a result of it, which is a bit upsetting. Which was her birthday last week, so I was in the rather weird position of having to describe to her what a birthday cake tasted like. It meant I got to eat a lot more cake, but I did feel a little bit. I was like, this is really tasty. How's that texture working out for you? Which wasn't ideal for her, but
spongy. But
yeah, but it was spongy. It was like this sponge cake has the texture of a sponge cake. So well, good.
Yeah,
glad. That's what I paid
usually
for.
The way.
Exactly. So yeah, and that kind of really knocked me for six a bit. So apologies for not being here last week. But what did manage to happen, what I ordered at a bus stop in Reykjavik, was a Steam Deck OLED. Is what I did. Because I was very fortunate to receive a bit of a bonus from work, and I thought, do you know what? That sounds like a shiny new thing. So I went and purchased shiny new thing. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Steam Deck OLED is being largely billed as a kind of display upgrade over the standard Steam Deck, which uses one of those ye oldie worldy LCD panels. And for those of you who don't know why OLED is a thing to be excited about, basically means the contrast is much better. The blacks are really black because on an LCD screen, when something is black, the pixels still are there's no RG or B signals going to it, but the pixel's still backlit. So it's that's why you get that washed out image sometimes. Whereas on a OLED screen, a pixel that is black is actually turned off, so you get much better contrast. The screen is absolutely gorgeous on this thing. It's gone from a 60 hertz panel to a 90 hertz panel, so the movement's a lot more fluid. The contrast, as I've already said, is fantastic. The one thing I would note, though, is although the screen itself is bigger, the actual kind of footprint of the screen in the unit is no more than it was previously. It's just the size of the borders around the screen have decreased. But it is also the same resolution, which means that arguably you could say you see pixels a little bit more. I haven't really noticed it, truth be told. But the other big advantage of OLED is that it uses a lot less power and is a bit thinner, which means they've been able to increase the battery capacity by a quarter, going from the Steam Deck LCD to the Steam Deck OLED. And that, combined with the fact that OLEDs use less power, and furthermore, I tell you, Coleman, combined with the fact that they've shrunk their process, okay? They've shrunk their process. What does that mean? Basically, it means
processors be shrunk.
The processor has been shrunk from a 7-nanometer process to a 6-nanometer process. You go, Dan, what does that mean? You're just saying numbers.
Dan, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. It means that the chip is more efficient. It generates less heat, which means that it's kind of the fan's not going as bonkers as it would do on the LCD version, and again means that because it's more efficient, it sips battery in a very miserly fashion, meaning that you can get quite incredible battery life out of this thing. I mean, I think that was one of the major problems of the original Steam Deck, was that the battery life wasn't that great.
Yes.
So, like,
still isn't.
for example, I know, still isn't. The original thing hasn't really changed that much. I mean, they have made some improvements to the firmware that's eked a bit more battery life out the thing, even the original version. But I think on the original LCD Steam Deck OLED, a game that worked really well on the Steam Deck is Hades, for example. I think you get about 3-ish hours out of the original Steam Deck, I want to say. But you can, the projected battery life on the new one when running Hades without making any adjustments to the resolution, the clock speed, anything like that, it's a solid 6.5 hours easily. So I would say that some of the changes they've made, even though the battery itself is only a quarter bigger, I'd actually say that the runtime, the usable runtime you get out of it is anywhere between 50 and 60% more. So it really addresses one of the major pain points of the Steam Deck.
It's pretty close to the launch Switch in terms of battery life then.
It is. And it's, even though there has been no major changes in terms of the other specs, in terms of the amount of RAM or the processor speed, the fact that it's all a bit more efficient and is not only kind of from an electronic point of view more efficient, but also from a thermal point of view, means that you can actually eke a bit more performance out of it. It's marginal. It's probably within margin of error, but it is a little bit snappier. But that's not the reason to get it. In terms of the storage size, the top end one now tops out at 1 terabyte of storage, which is loads of room, even if you've got a slightly ridiculous Steam library. SD card is still there, so you can still kind of, get all of your emulation goodness on there if you would so want to do that. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, the only reason I got it is because I was very fortunate to get an unexpected bonus from work. So I felt like a bit of a treat because I haven't had I felt like I was due one. So if I hadn't been in that fortunate position, I probably wouldn't have upgraded, to be honest with you. I think, the Steam Deck LCD is a great system still. And I think you can pick up the 256 gig LCD, I want to say. I'm going to launch Steam so I can look. You can pick up like the OG Steam Deck for quite a lot cheaper now. I think they're selling the 512, the old 512 gig model until they run out of stock.
That's kind of what they're going to do with the PlayStation as well. It's the idea of sell the old stock and without producing it anymore. And once it's gone, it's gone. And now the OLED version will be the main version of the Steam Deck going forward.
Yeah, so I mean, they're going to continue producing the 256 gig LCD model. I think you'll be able to pick that up for 350 quid. That's
the
actually
budget model.
The budget model, but I mean, it's still a pretty good thing. I mean, if for most people, probably the upgrade isn't going to be worth it unless you're eyeing up whacking a 1 terabyte SSD in your existing 512 gig one. That would probably run you 100 and something quid. By the time you've got a new Steam Deck and sold your old one, it's probably not going to cost that much more. So it might, if you were looking at upgrading your storage anyway, it might be worth trading up to a 1 terabyte Steam Deck and just selling your old one on. But generally speaking, I would say it's been a pretty good experience. However, I did have some teething problems with it. This might just be because it's the first run of units. I've got a squeaky trigger for a start. Ooh, a squeaky trigger, Coleman. It's like
it's good for the commute,
like that. I think I'm just aware of it. I'm sure it'll go away with time. But the other thing that a lot of people have been experiencing is some Wi-Fi connectivity problems. So they've put a brand new.
That was the same with the previous one, though.
Yeah, but slightly. I mean, they made a big thing about this being Wi-Fi 6E. That's a thing now, apparently. So super fast Wi-Fi. But the chipset they've got in there doesn't actually play nice with a necessarily all of a Wi-Fi 6 or 5 gigahertz connection. So mine kept dropping connection. It was infuriating. It wouldn't stay connected to Steam. So you couldn't really do anything with it. You couldn't log in. You couldn't play your games. And it turns out that there's a bit of a duff Wi-Fi chipset firmware upgrade or driver upgrade that's gone in there. And if you have got a Steam Deck OLED and you're experiencing connection problems, the way to fix it, and this is a workaround, is to disable the 160 megahertz band on your Wi-Fi router, okay? So if you've got a Wi-Fi router, go into the connection settings, look at how your Wi-Fi is configured, disable the 160 megahertz band. I don't know why that's causing a problem, but once I switched that off, that made it have a rock solid connection. So there we go. Top tip, disable your 160 megahertz band and you'll be golden. I'm sure they'll sort it out with the firmware update down the road. But yeah, it's been it's as the original Steam Deck was, my massive shiny Deck continues to be a thing of wonder. The Steam Deck continues to be an awesome device.
I can't see myself doing the upgrade just because I've only had mine a year, and the improvements, though they are cool, it's not enough to make me wanna exchange just yet. I will say, like, a lot of the problems I've had with the Steam Deck have been patched out over time. There were a lot of issues with Wi-Fi for me initially when I first got mine, and recently, over the past few months, which I had a troubleshooting ticket raised with Steam a while ago, the deck dock just stopped working with any kind of USB connection. So you could draw power from the charger, but if you connected a keyboard, a mouse, anything like that, which a reason I wanted to do to get the deck dock, it just stopped recognizing inputs at all. So you couldn't do anything with it. It was just a thing to stand up the deck on, which was a bit annoying. That's since been patched out with a firmware update, because they released there's an update for the dock every time. I think there's like 3 updates now. There's an update to the dock's firmware before the most recent Steam Deck update, so that's been sorted. Right. The only thing I'm kind of jealous about with the OLED Switch is the redesigned case. I really like that, because they've gone, here's the case, and if the case is too bulky, just unzip it, and it's like a Switch case inside. It's a smaller case within a case. I really like that idea, and I hope they going forward that becomes like the norm for the case, and they sell those separately, because I do like the official case, but I wish I could do that sometimes. Just chuck it in the laptop bag.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, because the old case it was like a dual layer case, whereas now they actually allow you to separate out the layers.
Yeah, I really like that. I'm quite jealous of that.
And I would do it live now for our video listeners, but it's going to make horrible Velcro noises, which
it sounds horrible.
Yep.
I also the one thing I don't like about the OLED is I hate the they've gone for a red motif over a blue one, and they've put a random red power button on top. And
I don't mind it so much.
I like it being black and sleek.
It lets the poor people know I'm better than them. It's fine.
I could just get some red model paint and paint in the power button and go, look at my OLED.
I'm sure there'll be a market for on AliExpress. You'll be able to buy the buttons separately and just swap
3D
it in.
printed buttons, swap out things. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
All right. Well, you got a new Steam Deck. Have you been playing anything on your OLED Steam Deck?
I've been playing many things about OLED Steam Deck. Some for the purposes of science, just comparing what it was like on the new one versus the old one. But I also picked up a copy. Thank you to the publishers for this as well. I received this for free from the publishers, and that was SteamWorld Build. Is releasing probably the day this podcast comes out. I've been fortunate enough to have an early access copy. So this is essentially a kind of a city builder / mine defense mashup in the SteamWorld universe. Kind of got all the kind of the whimsy you've come to expect of SteamWorld, but now you have got to look after a town full of robots. And I think one of the things that I tend to find, and I don't know how you feel about this, I often find city builders a bit stressful because I feel like there's always something that I should be doing that I'm not doing. And if I don't do it, things are going to go horribly wrong.
I haven't got along with a city builder since the 90s. I just can't get into them.
Yeah, I think SteamWorld Build does a really nice job. Now, I think this probably means that if you're a city builder enthusiast, this might be a little too simple for you. But for my tiny little lizard brain, this really kind of gets the mix right. It's very hard to... The worst that's going to happen is that your robots get a bit unhappy, and you can usually sort that out. So the basic setup is that you are a bunch of traveling robots. You set up a city. You start establishing a city, and then you notice that there's this old mine shaft. Lords of mercy, it's a mine shaft. And of course, because it's SteamWorld, you've got to go down that mine shaft. And you start finding new resources to build your city, and eventually discover some ancient rocket parts. And then a slightly mysterious, slightly creepy robot tries to encourage you to find all the bits of said rocket and fly them into space so you can escape from SteamWorld.
That's the to the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
And that is your basic your basic loop. It's not just building a city. There is some form of jeopardy in there. As you dig into the mine and dig deeper into the mine, you will uncover creepy crawlies, and you need to set up defenses to stop your city being overwhelmed. And by overwhelmed, I mean you have slightly grumpy robots. But it's quite nice. It feels that they've balanced it in a really, really nice way. I mean, the overworld map, so there's 5 maps in total. The overworld is always the same, but each time, even if you load it up on the same overworld map, the mine's always randomly generated. So there's always a little bit of variety from playthrough to playthrough. And like the whole purpose of, although the game itself probably doesn't play out that differently on each of the maps, if you kind of hit the win condition, which is go into space on the starship that you found all the bits of, then that unlocks a permanent upgrade for your future cities. So there's a little bit of reason to come back. But it does feel quite approachable. One of the concerns I had was that because a lot of the game takes place down in the mine, and that's probably where I had the most fun in it is exploring the mine, discovering new bits of resources, building out, all the tech you need down there. And thankfully, they've set it up so that you don't feel too distracted by needing to keep an eye on what's going on above ground as well as below ground. It feels that they've kind of made it quite, like I said, low stress from that point of view. I would say that it's got a nice little bit of variation. It's quite nice having the change in focus between above ground and below ground. Again, like you, I think I enjoyed it quite a lot because of the fact that it wasn't bashing me over the head with mechanics and feeling that that I was kind of always had stuff that I wasn't doing quite right. So to me, it felt quite a relaxing experience. It also works really well on the Steam Deck as well. I was very surprised. They've put a lot of thought into how this might work with a controller, and indeed, I believe SteamWorld Build is coming to Game Pass as well. There's a really good kind of, although I haven't played it on an Xbox Series console, the experience I've had with the Steam Deck would make me believe that it's going to play quite nicely there too. It's not the deepest city builder. I think if you're a kind of a real city builder aficionado, there's probably not going to be enough meat to the bones here. But if you always like the idea of dabbling in a city builder with a little bit of exploration, maybe a little bit of kind of city defense kind of stuff in there as well, without a game that doesn't take itself too seriously, I think you could do a lot worse than SteamWorld Build. I'm not sure how much replayability there's going to be in here. Like I said, the overworld maps, whilst they look different and have kind of different geography, you'd kind of, the path to success is very familiar. It's not like each of the maps throws in a completely different challenge that you need to overcome. It is generally, right, get your basic city, upgrade it a bit more, go into the mine, find new stuff, do a bit more upgrading, keep digging, keep doing that. You built your spaceship, off to the moon, Bob's your uncle, see you later. But it's a good fun game. I'd probably give it well, I know we don't give scores round these parts.
Can if you want.
I would give it how many? What's my maximum number of barrels this week? I could give it.
Let's go for 10.
10 barrels. I would give it.
Barrels.
I would give it a shade over 7 barrels. There we go.
Ooh, should we say like a 7.3?
Yes, a 7. 7 barrels and 3 quarts is what I would give it.
Tasty.
Yeah. But no, it is a good, fun little game. Like I said, coming to SteamWorld Build will be out on the 1st of December, so you're probably able to get it should you so want to from here. By the time you hear this show. Believe it is coming to Game Pass. I can't quite put my finger on how much it's going to cost you on Steam. There we go. It's 25 quid. Bit nearer 20, I think, is probably what I would do.
See, I won't go a penny over $24.99, to be honest.
Won't you? Well, you're a man of principle. Yeah. So, yeah. Pick it up on Windows.
Yeah.
So I'd like to correct myself, actually. The Xbox Game Pass, it looks like that flavor is actually only Windows at the moment. It may well come to the Xbox Series in time, but there will, of course, be controller support on Windows as well. So I think it's probably worth, if you've got Game Pass Ultimate, play it on that, I would say. Obviously, unless you really just love spending money. But this does seem a prime candidate to show up on a Humble Bundle or a Steam sale before not too long. So unless this is something you've really got in your sights of, oh my God, I really have to have this because I love the SteamWorld series, I might advise holding off a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I would say there's a lot of fans of the SteamWorld series and those developers seem like really nice people. So go ahead. Not for me, unfortunately. Like I say, I get very bored of city builders and park builders and stuff. I really tried with that Jurassic World game. I really Really, really gave it my all. And
Did
I could
you?
not get into
What
it.
broke you in the end? What broke you in the end?
I just get so bored. They make me tired.
There's only so many lawyers you can eat out of a toilet.
I need action. I need some cyberpunk. I need some WWE. I need some playing as a mouse. Dungeon crawling.
Coleman, well, you're a man. Whenever I see you, the word that comes to mind is action.
Action Coleman. That's what they call me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Greatest hero of them all. Although I look kind of like Professor X. Is it Professor? No, Dr. X.
Kind of. Sure, I'll let you have that. Why not?
That's the bad guy from Action Man, not Xavier. Who's bald with a ponytail. You remember? From the 90s.
The skullet.
Yeah.
Look.
Ponytail at the back, clean shaven. I think he had a goatee and an eye patch. Can't remember. It's good look.
I'm just glad they didn't.
Look.
Yeah, not at all ripping off the look of Jake. I vaguely remember him being a mild rip off of Jake the Snake Roberts. I seem to remember it's kind of that vibe I got.
No. Right, we're going to do this off mic later.
All right, okay. Follically challenged, muscly dude. Anyway.
I've been playing a game, and it probably would have benefited from the OLED because there's a lot of darkness in this. There's a lot of black background that probably could have done with some switched off pixels to heighten that sense.
Okay.
But I've been playing Backpack Hero, which is a game that I don't think you were on this show. We were talking about the Nintendo Indie World Showcase, and they showed off Backpack Hero, and I went, finally, a roguelike dungeon crawling game made specifically for Coleman and his major OCD problems, because it's all about inventory management.
Lovely.
And,
good for
I love
you.
this game. Yes.
So have you enjoyed sorting out your backpack?
I have. So you play a small mouse called Purse, who is from a rat, in fact, not a mouse.
I'm not judging. I mean, you don't need to go calling her names.
From a villager of anthropomorphic animals, and you are the daughter of a hero that used to quest in these dungeons near the village, and decide to follow in your mother's footsteps and start questing in the dungeons yourself. Upon your arrival, you find a magical backpack that will expand the longer you are playing in the dungeon each time. And because it's a roguelike, each time you go in, the backpack resets itself. But the main aim of the game is go through, you find items, you put them in your backpack. You need to work out generally like a sword or armor, shield, something for defense, something for healing, something for attacking, and work out the best items along the way, build up your stats, and then you get into turn-based combat. And once you've gotten all the way through that, you keep progressing, you unlock XP, and then that XP you use to expand slots in your backpack, which can hold more items. And then the idea is to get to the end of the dungeon with as many items and treasures and things that you can take back to your village and sell, and then go back in and start afresh, keep on going, and use that as some kind of talking about city builders, some kind of village builder. Go upgrade your village, demolish old houses and buildings and stuff, and build new ones. But a lot more, probably a lot easier than what's available on the SteamWorld City Builder game. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm playing this on the Steam Deck. I picked up on Steam, funnily enough, and it's kind of scratching that itch where I don't like a really hard roguelike where I'm just going in and not making any progress at all. This one, I feel I can do short runs on there, build up and get the hang of things, and then go back in and go for the more harder ones along the way. You do have the option of doing just like a quick mode, going in the dungeon crawling and challenging yourself that way, or there is the story mode where you are trying to build up your village. I really like this game, and it's got that kind of it's scratching that Tetris itch of the inventory management. Something that I found at work at times where we need to pack things away into a specific space and go, there is not enough space in this place. Time for my years of Tetris playing to come into use and use up all the available space. And that's this in a video game. So there's a lot of kind of swapping items in and out and trying to find the best things and maximizing your space available.
So
Yeah,
and like
really
so the aim
this.
so you can so the stuff that's in your backpack you will have to use, and presumably if like it's a consumable that frees up the space in your backpack, but it also means that you no longer have it available to sell and improve your town. So is that the loop?
Correct.
Basically? Right. That sounds all right,
and
actually.
then it took me a little while to get used to it because the first time I finished a run and I got all these weapons and stuff, I went straight back into the dungeon and then all my stuff had gone. I was like, oh, I was meant to go and take all that to the shop and sell it all because you lose it as soon as you go back into the dungeon. So it was quite annoying.
Good work, Coleman.
But the idea is as well, because when you go in, you get like a basic wooden sword and a wooden shield and a meal that you can use to get energy back with. And that's all you can fit in your 9 slots, I think it is, you have available. But then the more you go through the story and start unlocking sections of the village and making new friends, you'll get more perks along the way. So if you befriend like a specific, like an archer, then you can go in with an archery set. If you like join part of a dojo, then you get more like heavy firepower kind of things along the way. So you can go in with different startups each time the more you progress with the story and then switch them out on the fly. And you can go back and do story missions that you've previously done in the dungeon, or you can go back and just do like regular runs or specific types of runs that have parameters to them, kind of more boss fighty heavy ones. One of the cool things I do like about this is when you go out, when you finish the dungeon, which you've got to be careful not to miss, you can get the treasure, which is a piece of cheese because you're a rat. And the cheese is like a valuable item. You can then go sell at your village, which a couple of times I've gone through and accidentally missed the cheese and gone, oh, I've gone through all that dungeon and I didn't get my cheese. Where's my cheese, Dan?
What kind of cheese are we talking? I mean, are we talking like a high quality cheddar, or are we talking a squeezy tube of Primula?
I'm assuming it's a Swiss cheese because it's your stereotype kind of cartoon triangular block of cheese with holes in it. So Swiss, I'm assuming.
I mean, is there different grades of cheese you can win? Is it always that cheese? Could you get Camembert? Could you get Parmesan?
I'm pretty sure it's just that one cheese.
Really? I mean, life must be a bit tedious as that, right? If there's only one type of cheese, I'm not sure I could be bothered to go through the dungeon again and again.
Well, anyway, this
am I missing the point?
You might be.
It's very okay, politely then. Said of you.
You'll get there. It's okay.
So how much can I pick this up for then? Because this sounds like the kind of game I might like.
Well, right now, so I believe you could have got this early. If you bought this in early access, it was cheaper, but it's now in the 1.0 version. So you can pick this up for £16.75 on Steam. This is also available, and that's for Windows, Mac, and Steam OS. That is also available on the Nintendo Switch. And there will be ports for the PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series S and X, but those aren't available just yet.
Boo!
Being worked on still.
But they're not handheld, any of those things.
I mean, you've got the awful PlayStation Portal.
Yeah, can I just check? That sounded like some kind of gizmo that Tim might pick up if left unattended for some time. He didn't, did he?
I don't think he has. Also, no one can buy those things because scalpers picked them all up thinking it was going to be the hot ticket item for Christmas. I doubt it will be because it's not very good.
No, I've heard nothing but bad things about it. But I'm not off base. It does sound like the kind of thing Tim might buy as an investment, doesn't it?
Well, no, I thought about getting one when they announced it, and then I thought, well, hold on. Let's wait for a teardown. Let's wait for some reviews and see how it goes, and read some proper reviews. Don't follow an influencer, because so many YouTube videos like, you won't believe how amazing the PlayStation Portal is, and it's not. Yep. It's the problem because streaming on the PlayStation 4 to the Vita was a really cool thing because it could do direct streaming from the console to the Vita, or alternatively, you could use Wi-Fi. And the Wi-Fi wasn't as good, but the direct streaming was great. And I thought, well, if this is a thing, you could do direct streaming and remote streaming. That could be a pretty cool thing. It's just Wi-Fi. Just Wi-Fi streaming. And I've seen people with ridiculously high Wi-Fi power not being able to use this thing very well. Also, it's not great for remote access Wi-Fi, playing it over 5G or using public Wi-Fi. because if you try it on a public Wi-Fi and it wants to take you to a separate login screen, the PlayStation Portal can't do that because it doesn't have a browser.
Wow.
It's not a great piece of kit. Also, I think it's on like an outdated version of Snapdragon. It's not. Do you know what's more powerful than the PlayStation Portal?
My toaster.
A modern mobile phone.
Well, modern mobile phones are quite powerful bits of kit.
With a nice little controller that you plug into there, a Kishi or a backbone or something. I accidentally hit the bell, and you could do it that way. Or if you want to be really anal and try to use the use the powers afforded to you from messing around with systems that aren't intended to be done, you could hack your Steam Deck and put
you can.
a PlayStation
it's actually
remote
fairly
on
easy. It's actually
It's easy to do local. The remote stuff is a pain in the ass to set up.
Yeah. So you presumably need like a VPN or something to do that, just so you're effectively on the same network.
No. It's a while ago since I did it, and I need to do it again because I moved house. But it was like a full day of faffing about trying to get the ports open to do it remotely and then run it off my 5G off my phone. But that worked really well, and apparently a lot better than a PlayStation Portal.
Oh, there we go. And how much does a PlayStation Portal cost?
They're like £200, I think.
So you may as well just pick up a mini massive dick.
It's a shame because I was eyeing it up when they initially announced it, and it's because I do like to do remote play stuff on the PlayStation, and I thought that could be a very easy alternative with a nice big screen if it works well. And also, even though it is ugly as all sin, I do like the idea of having the DualSense grafted on each side, because that's a very comfortable controller. It also uses DualSense. Apparently thumbsticks are different, they're smaller.
Oh, really?
But everything else, yeah. It's not just a sawn in half controller. They are actually specifically made for the
yeah, I don't know.
tablets.
It still struck me as the solution to a problem no one really had in the first place.
It's not a handheld. It's just an alternative to using a phone or a device for streaming console to tablet. But also, if you use your phone, I mean, you've got other options. You can use your Game Pass. You could direct control. You could use your Steam. You can use your Xbox and your PlayStation all in one. This is specifically for PlayStation and not so good. We didn't even mean to talk about PlayStation.
No,
Portal.
sorry. Me and Coleman just going off on a rant.
I've had a bee in my bonnet about this for like 2 weeks now because
so many people
are talking about how amazing
no
it is.
one
And then when
would
it comes out, it's like, oh, actually, no, it's pretty rubbish.
It's a load of old tat is what it is. Tat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you want to quickly sum up some of your Destiny 2 stuff? Because I've seen some complaints this week regarding pay-to-win strategies and some DLC being pulled.
Yeah, I mean, it's been it's new season of Destiny 2 time, which means I think there's a new dungeon incoming, which I will fail very hard at. No doubt me and Kev will attempt to go into that dungeon, get our butts handed to us, and then we'll promptly go and do something else for a bit. They finally confirmed that the final shape has been delayed, and it's delayed all the way out till next summer. It's June, which means they're really going to have to eke out every last bit of content they can from this season. So seasons in Destiny are usually
and up the DLC microtransaction-y stuff, because that's where Bungo's making their money.
Well, that is what's caused the shenanigans. So,
no!
I know Destiny is
must be the season of the Witcher.
Yeah, it's ostensibly free to play, but they really are leaning heavily into the nickel and diming of the player base, and I think kind of have been quite aggressively marketing like this new player bundle for here's some stuff that, you know, I think if it was a pack in with like, hey, look, if you buy an expansion, you get this thrown in free, but they're charging 15 quid for stuff that you can earn not that with too much difficulty in game. I just really don't like the optics of it, that there is an increasing amount of stuff now that you have to pay for with Destiny. And I think if it truly was free to play, if everything was free to play, there was no kind of seasonal purchasing model, then kind of all right. But the fact that you're buying expansions and then having to buy seasons on top of that, and then they're still trying to nickel and dime you for, even if it is only cosmetic stuff that's on the quote unquote silver store. The fact that, you know, they're trying to extract even more cash out of brand new players who probably can't actually judge the value of that bundle just starts to feel a little bit unpleasant. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think sadly Destiny 2 is looking like it's going to go out with a whimper rather than a bang, I think. There's been a lot going on with Bungie at the moment. A lot of stuff going sideways. They may well, I mean, I think probably it was the right call to make to delay it. The kind of the mouthpiece of the studio now seems to be Joe Blackburn, who's the game director for it. He's always seemed like a really nice guy, and he seems to be just kind of leveling with the player base, which I hope, you know, is going to go some way to mollifying the concerns of people. But yeah, Destiny 2 just feels in a really weird place at the moment. It's a shame, because I think they were really doing well, probably up until this year's expansion, and it just feels like I've lost a bit of momentum. But hey, look, we'll see. It's always fun to have new stuff to do. I don't quite see how they're not going to hemorrhage player count and player sentiment over trying to spin a 3-month season out into nearly 9 months. It's gonna 7 months, 8 months. I think it's gonna be pretty brutal for them. But there we go.
Well, the big news now is because they did the Witcher update thing, and you can get the Geralt bathtub meme made as a
you
emote,
can for the low price of 700 silver.
But then, so that was like the thing they were talking about probably 2 days ago. All these sites going, "Whoa, look, you could do the bathtub thing! Isn't that fun?" And Bungie's kind of shot themselves in the foot with that, because now people are complaining about Destiny, so people are publishing articles about Destiny in negative ways. And they now have the bathtub meme that people like to put on anything to do with CD Projekt. So now that is to do, they've shot themselves in the foot with that one. But the recent one is there was a Destiny 2 starter pack that was released.
That's the one I'm on about, the starter pack.
Yeah, and players are saying that it's effectively pay to win because of the high level items that you're purchasing through the game and the updating to it. So Destiny, Bungie have now removed that pack. You can't buy it anymore,
which I think is sensible. But that's the one I was just whinging about. One of the kind of loudest community voices, a guy called Datto, absolutely lost his proverbial over it. He really tore into them about it. He's usually a very mild-mannered guy, but he was like properly, F you, Bungo, I'm out. I mean, as often with many influencers who tie their success to a named product, he's still making content, of course. But you know, he was not happy. Look, there's clearly a lot going on at Bungie. I think they're entering a really weird point. I think we'll see how Destiny finishes up and wraps up. Marathon is, there's an odd amount of radio silence around that as well. So,
I think there will be for a while. That's going to be a while off. We just got a pre-rendered trailer. It's a game that I could not give a stuff about.
No, neither could I.
Like, taken from a series of shooters that were available just on the Mac, so that's me out. I never paid attention to that. And it's a team. It's like another what do you call it? Oh, flipping team shooter game. What do they call them? Overwatch. It's like Overwatch. Yeah, I really do not want any more of those.
It's okay, Coleman. It's okay.
Also, you can just get Overwatch for free now, can't you?
You can. The Overwatch 2 you can get for free, I believe. So,
well, they took Overwatch 1
Over
off the
One
marketplace.
Watch. Yes.
Yes, they took that off the marketplace and replaced them all with Overwatch 2. So, and just brought all the content forward, I believe. Anywho, other headlines include, so you may remember a little while ago, there was a new studio formed in 2021 called Radical Design, and they were built specifically for the creation of a remake of Time Splitters, which is something a lot of gamers have been screaming out for a long time. A return to Time Splitters, a remake of Time Splitters.
There we go. There's me as a gamer screaming out for it.
Yes, it's a license that people used to really enjoy in the PS2 era, and we haven't heard anything about it for a while. Not since they hid that Time Splitters updated code in, what was it, Homefront 3 or something? Homefront Revolution? It was a random arcade machine you could play Time Splitters on. Anywho, so there is some rumblings going on. You may have heard, we've spoken about it a couple of times. The Embracer Group, they have made a bunch of redundancies. They've axed around, I think it's 900 members of staff.
Wow.
And have said that they're going to be definitely axing more before the year is out. And if you don't know, Free Radical Design is part of the Embracer Group. So the rumblings are that could be any time in the early December, but we could be seeing that studio axed before we get anything to do with Time Splitters.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a bit of a shame, that one. Well, I mean, any redundancy is a shame. Any studio getting shut down is a shame. But this one, who didn't even get to really prove themselves and show off their product, could be up for the chopping block. Which is it's a crying shame. Anywho, moving along, there was big news this week where Sony have announced that they've signed a partnership with NCSoft.
Oh, right.
The developer, South Korean company behind Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2, I believe.
Oh, blimey. Okay.
They've not gone into much details other than they've signed a partnership. However, they have mentioned mobile gaming, which, if you remember, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but PlayStation said they were making a big push towards mobile gaming, to which we have heard nothing about. So maybe they had plans, they didn't follow through. This is a kick in the right direction. Who knows? I'm just hoping we don't get for the longest time, people wanted Nintendo to jump into mobile gaming, and their hand was kind of forced by Niantic because of Pokemon Go. And then Nintendo went, oh, that's like their stock went up because of the release of Pokemon Go. And then immediately, as soon as people realized that Nintendo don't actually own the license of Pokemon, nor Niantic, nor the game, their stock just died.
Yeah.
So they started releasing their own mobile games, but everything seems to be kind of what we already have available to us. It's free to play, or if it's charged, it's charged too much for very little, and if it's free to play, then it's a lot of microtransactional stuff in there. If PlayStation are jumping into anything to do with the mobile space, I would like to see some kind of innovation to it, not just more nickel and diming. But who knows?
Don't hold your breath, mate.
Well, I mean, especially with the state of AAA gaming being, hey, buy a game for £70 and then here's some microtransactions. Woohoo! We're giving you the free-to-play game, but it's worth more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But hey. That's not the only news. There's been some other exciting news. There's been a couple of release windows. We've already talked about Destiny's release window being moved. But Division Heartland apparently might be on the way. So this is the new installment. They're not calling it Division 3, but it's essentially the new Division, as far as I can work out.
The free-to-play Division, if I remember rightly.
Yes, indeed. But that's coming out in Jan or Feb, by the looks of things. I think it got its rating in Taiwan recently, and generally that tends to be a little earlier than elsewhere. So that is on the way. So nickel and dime your way to biohazard-related success there. I
mean, I hope that's good, because I was really excited for the mobile version of the Division, and that wasn't very good.
No, I don't think
that's
great.
actually... Has that actually been released yet, or is that still an alpha, beta, something?
What, Division Heartland, or... or Division Mobile?
No, Division Mobile.
I think it had a closed beta, or I want to say, but I think that it's needing more time in the oven is my recollection of it.
That was an impressive one because I loaded it up and went, oh, this is pretty cool. And then just watched as the further I played, the slower it went and the quicker my battery just started going, just running down. It just could not handle that game. And that's a new phone at the time, you know?
But so that's coming. But Ubisoft weren't done there. Oh no, Lordy God. Why have one thing accidentally leak when you can accidentally launch something else as well? Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition accidentally kind of launched a bit on the Xbox game front due to a quote-unquote technical error, aka work experience person pressing the wrong
Ubisoft
button.
Plus, I think, as well.
Oh, really?
Which I didn't know was still a thing. I thought they cancelled that.
Yeah. No, still a thing.
Ubisoft are blaming it on a technical error where they accidentally launched a game before it was meant to go up. But they have said that it's confirmed for an early 2024 release. So if you didn't play Beyond Good and Evil on, what was it, GameCube and PS2, and then a HD remake a HD port on PS3 and PC and 360 where they went, hey, if enough people buy this, then we'll make Beyond Good and Evil 2, definitely. Yeah, that'll definitely happen. And enough people bought it, and then they went quiet for ages again. And then and then we finally started getting stuff about Beyond Good and Evil 2. And then we won't talk about the guy that was behind that. And now we're going, well, Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition. We're just never getting Beyond Good and Evil 2.
I mean, it's totally got a 2 in it.
Because of the 20th anniversary.
Yeah. So, progress. It's fine.
I've got to look back to see when the first reveal of Beyond Good and Evil 2 was. The trailer where Jade and the uncle's out in the desert just fixing a broken car. That was
Beyond Good and Evil 2 has like placeholder PS4 box art. It's that
Remember
ancient.
The second time they announced it and we got the swearing monkey and all that? Yeah, that was fun.
It was announced as a prequel at Ubisoft's E3 2017 conference.
Well, that was the second time it was announced.
Oh, was it? Oh, no, it was teased at Ubi Days 2008. You're right. 2008. Jesus.
2008.
Wow.
Dan. It's a long time.
That is a long time. Long time.
Also, there was so we had already seen the announcement of Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. That's been given a release window, and the reason we bring this up is because the release window is in 2025. Level 5 has announced, but they've also announced it's coming to Nintendo Switch.
Oh.
That can't be right.
Nah.
Are we really keeping it that long?
Well, I mean, I can
Nintendo.
see that a Layton game might release on the old and new system. I could see it do that. But 2025, I think, is when we're likely to see the Steam, not Steam Deck 2, we might see that.
Switch 2.
The Switch 2, I think, whatever they are doing next, I think that sounds about the right kind of release date to me. So yeah, I think I when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I think that's when we're going to see the Switch 2. So
yeah, I really thought we were going to see it last month, the reveal with a release for next year, because I thought they would just follow the exact same time frame as the Switch.
Yeah, I think they'll try and get it out for holidays. Or I think this time next year is when it's going to. Although it did launch at a slightly weird time, the original Switch. Didn't that launch in like March or something?
I think the announcement was October, and yeah, the launch was May or March. One of those.
Okay. So I think we might see something. I think they'll try and get it out for holiday season next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was first quarter 25.
I think it's sensible to get your console launch ahead of the winter period, because that's when all the games come out and everything, and then that's when you want your deals for the Christmas period, where people start bundling games and stuff, because then the sales jump up in each more.
Aren't you a cynical corporate
ready
shill?
For Christmas?
Aren't you cynical?
I'm starting to recognise patterns over the years, Dan. Been playing games for a while, been watching launches for a while. You know, no slouch at this stuff now.
I know, this is true.
Anyway, those are all the games we done played, and that is all the news we done read.
It most certainly is, young Coleman. I think probably we ought to start wrapping things up because we've been babbling on for a while. Hey, I think you've gone 2 weeks without being told that you can buy stuff with my face on it, haven't you?
That's not true. We've been definitely saying it while you've been gone.
But I think you haven't heard me say it, though, have you? Buy my face. Buy things with my face on it. tpublic.com/store/BRB. Buy things with my face on it. Tell them I sent you. They'll ignore you and just go, that's nice. Would you like to buy something with Dan's face on it? But you can just tell them anyway, just for fun. It'll make me feel important.
I mean, we also do BRB products and BRB-related products and video game
none of them have my face on it.
I mean, if you buy a T-shirt by one of our lovely artists, like the excellent Sonic T-shirt that I really like, then that's money that goes to the artiste of that T-shirt.
Indeed. And then buy things for I don't get any money for my face. Does Tim... Hang on, is Tim class as the artist for that?
I mean, I put it through an AI HDifier thing to upscale the screenshot taken from 480p footage on YouTube, but I think we actually owe that money to Sky to be Sky B for the creation of Games World.
They don't exist anymore, but it is my face.
B Sky B still very much exists then.
But they don't call it B Sky B, they just call it Sky.
Well, no, but the company is B Sky B.
Oh, is it still B Sky B? Well, every day's a school day.
Yeah, there you go.
Every day's a school day. I'm sure there will be Tabletop Tuesday shenanigans next Tuesday, but Tim has neglected to tell us what's going to happen on Tabletop Tuesday.
Tim forgot to tell us stuff again.
Yeah. So, the loading bar of the Stoke Newington variety, I believe. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Wait. Yes, that is correct.
That is correct. I thought it was.
My brain went to a couple of years ago when it used to be at a different location, and it took me a minute to reboot.
We totally pay attention whenever Tim talks. Can you tell?
That is Tabletop Tuesday at Stoke Newington's loading bar on the 5th of November. No, 5th of December.
Well done.
I lost a whole month just then.
You did.
Remember, you can go there each and every Tuesday. We have our excellent tabletop gaming nights over at the loading bar in Stoke Newington. There, we tend to have some kind of headline game, which if you play, you get entered into a raffle, and at the prize draw at the end of the night, the winner gets announced, and you get to take that game home.
Huzzah!
Sometimes it changes, but there's usually prizes involved. You have to see available on bigredbarrel.com on the front page or on Meetup. That's usually where we do the announcements for said games.
Mm-hmm.
Really helpful if Tim told us this stuff ahead of time. And then I didn't have to.
But where's the fun in that? Where is the fun in that?
Well, when he does that, I tend to have to read up what the game is, and I kind of switch off because, tabletop games. And Coleman.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have enjoyed this show, then great job. You got this far. Thank you very much for listeing. You got weird taste, but we love you all the same. Remember, you can go to bigredbarrel.com. Over there, we have our podcast. We have news, articles, and things are available on the site. It hasn't been updated for a while, but we'll get to it. We're doing stuff. We've got stuff going on. And also, the Tabletop Tuesday announcements are there also. We have a link there to our Discord. We have Facebook, X, and Threads available at Big Red Barrel, and we also have YouTube, Big Red Barrel TV. Over there, you can watch us, you can listen to us, you can write to us, you can put comment sections and ask us questions and things. You can go over to our Discord and ask us questions, much like these fine folks have done so. So first of all, Richard Kirk asks, I have a question. Are you finally going to behead Tim for using the phrase flat screen gaming too many times? Not beheading, he's in timeout, as I said at the start of the show. He's in the sin bin, as I used to call it when I was in school, to think about what he has done.
He's currently perched on the naughty stuff, wallowing in his own self-inflicted filth, is what he's doing.
Halfway up the stairs is a stair where Tim has to sit and think about what he's done.
Exactly.
Spiky Chris asks, I have a question.
Yep.
Can we have an alternative to the game of the year this year and instead have the worst games you've played this year, which
yeah,
is something
sure.
we visited. We did that last year. I think the problem we had is not everyone. I mean, I don't particularly seek out the worst games, but I will if I think they're funny, and we'll talk about them on the show. Much like Walking Dead while you're away, Dan. Walking Dead Destiny, which is not a good game.
Oh, dear.
And I don't know if we have enough bad games we've played for the end of the year show.
I mean, I'm sure
like
Tim
last
will.
year where, well, Tim spoke about a game he didn't even play last year. So that was good. So we could just be slagging off games that we've heard are bad in the news and such, which isn't great. But also the more realistic reasons, because we did have it on the agenda for shows to do at the end of the year, and I took it off just because I wanted to change it out for something else. But the real reason is our numbers weren't great on that episode in comparison to other episodes that we put at the end of the year.
Look at Coleman. Look at Coleman being driven by the numbers. You're really doubling down on this corporate shield nonsense, aren't you?
Well, no, we're not the biggest show, but I want us to do stuff.
Well, yeah, we are. We are nowhere near the biggest show, but
it's a thing. It's a thing.
Big numbers make Coleman happy.
That's
why I phone him up occasionally and just go 326,302 because he just likes to hear big numbers. Don't you?
The question from a man called Rick. He says, Have you ever punched a pigeon?
Nope.
No.
I once accidentally fed a pigeon some chocolate-covered coffee beans and it went a bit insane. Don't do that, kids.
I was at a wedding chatting to one Mr. John Brady, and we'd arrived quite early, and we were having a little chat away. And so I've got a thing about bees and wasps.
Right.
At this point,
wasps are. There's no point to wasps, as far as I can work out.
At that point in my life, I had never been stung by either one of them, and I freak out a little bit because I know allergies are a big thing, and I'm allergic to a lot of things.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit freaked out by that stuff.
Right.
So while I was chatting to him, he went, a bee. And rather than go, and like freak out and move away, I turned around and punched it. And then turned around and started talking to John again. And he just sort of stopped me mid-sentence and went, hey, you just punched a bee. Yeah, I guess I did.
Wow.
So, never punched a pigeon, but I once punched a bee. Being weird.
Wow. Wax on, wax off, grasshopper. Jesus.
That's right.
That is incredible.
Yeah. Go over to our Discord, ask us questions. I mean, you can ask us questions on any of the platforms. We will be able to see them. Discord's a favorite of ours, but go over there now because I have updated the code, the Steam code giveaways in our PC section. So
I might be dropping some goodness there and over the Christmas period as well.
Drop some stuff in there. That's where we're putting all our game codes at the moment.
Little sprinkle of goodness and first come, first served.
Yes, can't guarantee it. They will still be available, but right now I hit the wrong button on my phone, so I can't see it. Where did we go? I did it twice. Where is it? Is it game platforms, community hangouts? Wow, I just can't see it on my... Oh, there it is. So right now, you can get yourself... There's 2 copies of Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, which I believe is the remake of, or the port to newer versions of Dragon's Dogma. There is WWE 2K23. There's Friends vs. Friends, SCP Secret Files, Disco Elysium, the Final Cut, Dark Pictures Anthology, House of Ashes, Spirit of the Island, Lords and Villains. There are a few good games there for you to be cashing in on. So if you like games on your Steam, if you've got a Steam Deck, some of those games are good for Steam Deck. But yes, go pick them up. And WWE 2K23 is not a game for the Steam Deck, Dan.
Nope.
Didn't even attempt it.
You didn't? You were just like, nope, not going to happen.
Well, I play it on the PS5 and I've got a lot of hours in that game. I did not need a second version of that game right around the corner from when we're going to get the new version of that game.
That's fair enough.
I thought I'd hand that one over. All right, that's everything.
That is everything.
Right. Oh, leave us a review if you can. That'd be great.
So there we go. That is your lot, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening to us. Go to all the things that Coleman said on the internet. They're wonderful. You should go and get them and go and view them and go and do things with them. And yes, and more importantly, buy things with my face on it. So we are going to scurry away back into our little corner of the internet, and we'll be back this time next week, or whenever you are listening to us.
Sorry, I forgot. I won't.
Hey, another 2-man show.
Sorry. And
That's all
also the show may be delayed by a day.
Right.
We're not
well,
sure
we
yet.
shall. Well, whatever may or may not happen next week may or may not happen. We'll see.
Give you the heads up.
Yes, indeed. So that is your lot. I think really we should just get the heck out of here. Thank you so much for downloading us. We really do appreciate it. And all that's left for me to do is to remind you that I have been Dan.
Mark been Chaos.
Chaos. And Tim is a git. So
Mark been playing a flat screen game.
What?
Because I'm a flat screen gamer.
What
pancake game?
Absolute arse that man is.
As
anyway.
I've said before, as wanky as you used to talk about when you first started getting into PC gaming and building your own PC and stuff, that's what Tim's like talking about VR.
Yeah.
I need to find something to be pretentious over. Baldness.
Not really.
So what you want to use?
I'm not really sure that qualifies as a hobby.
You want to use the scrub with the beads in it to clear out the pores, and you want to use a shaved butter.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Before Coleman disappears into some kind of weird little corner of his life where he's talking about polishing his shiny dome, I think we're going to go. So thank you so much for downloading us. We'll be back next week. And until next time, dear listeners, doodle bye.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
to BigRedBarrel.com
for more podcasts,
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarrel.com.
You may not know this game existed in the UK for good reason. It didn't release here. This is a Super Nintendo game that was made by Squaresoft before they were merged with Enix. And they made this amazing